Yo, what is going on, Headliner Nation? It's your boy, The Doc, and we are back for another injury update video. Last week, I did the quarterbacks, told you how they're doing with their recoveries, and you guys voted for me to do the running back position next, so that's what this video is all about. We're going to be talking about all the running backs coming back from injury this year, how their recoveries are going, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you one running back that I absolutely will not be drafting in fantasy drafts this season. Let's get into it. All right, we're going to talk about the guy that I think most of you are wondering about. When you think running back injuries, it's hard not to think about Nick Chubb's knee exploding live on television last year. He ended up tearing his ACL, MCL, meniscus, and medial capsule in that left knee, the same knee that he tore multiple ligaments in while he was at Georgia. When the injury first happened, there was some speculation that Nick Chubb would not be able to play football again. I never really bought into that. Perhaps to somebody who isn't an absolute freak, this type of injury would have derailed their entire career, but we've seen Nick Chubb come back from major knee injuries before, and we've already proven that he is clearly an animal when it comes to working out and his rehab, and it sounds like he's doing the same thing this offseason. Recently, Cleveland running back coach Brad Lester said he's never seen anyone recover as fast as Nick Chubb has from this injury. I fully believe that Nick Chubb will return to the field at some point this season, likely within the first half of the year, based on the limited videos that we've seen from his recovery. He does look like he's going to continue rehabbing throughout most of training camp and the preseason, likely starting the year on the active PUP just in case they decide to put him on the reserve PUP and miss the first 4 games just in case that recovery isn't going as smoothly as they want. But I would not totally rule out that he could be ready by week 1. I'm not opposed to taking a flyer on him if he falls in best ball drafts to that RB4-5 range. I mean, come on, guys. It's Nick Chubb. If anyone can come back from an injury like this, it's going to be the beast that is Nick Chubb. All right, the next guy we're going to be talking about is Kyren Williams. Now, Williams managed to put together an incredible season last year despite missing 4 games with a high ankle sprain. He was the first player in 86 years to rank inside the top 3 in rushing yards while missing that many games. Dude is clearly a stud, but last month, reports started to surface of him missing significant time this summer due to a foot injury that he suffered while training. We haven't really gotten much of an update outside of that he was going to miss time but probably be back by training camp. This news also came right after the team's GM Les Snead admitted that they drafted Michigan star Blake Corum in the 3rd round, in part due to the pressure that was on Williams to be healthy each and every game. Now, I'm not so certain that head coach Sean McVay will actually take a committee approach. He's never really done that in his NFL coaching career as a coordinator or a head coach, but if Williams is expected to be 100% by training camp, the team will likely lock him in as the starter based on his performance last year, and there's not going to be a lot of meat left on the bone for a guy like Blake Corum if Kyren is healthy. All right, let's talk about the 2 running backs from the Miami Dolphins. Both of these guys having injuries last season. Raheem Mostert having knee and ankle issues, missed the last 2 regular season games of the 2023 season, but still finished the season as the league leader in rushing touchdowns with 18 and was 10th in rushing yards. Despite nabbing the dreaded injury-prone label for most of his career, Raheem Mostert managed to be surprisingly healthy the last 2 seasons. Despite being over 30 years old, the guy's really breaking a lot of the molds that we have in terms of dudes that you shouldn't be drafting. He's a running back over the age of 30 with an injury history. Normally, I would tell you to avoid him like the plague, but since he missed nearly all of 2021 with a knee injury, Mostert has played in 32 of Miami's 36 games over the past 2 seasons. While his history and age are both major red flags, it's hard to argue that you're not getting a decent discount with him still going outside the top 24 running backs, despite finishing as the RB4 last season in fantasy. From a recovery standpoint, neither of these injuries was really considered a major issue at the time, and I don't really think that they necessarily justify an offseason update, but I know that he's a guy that a lot of guys have questions about, and I know that his value is significantly depressed based on the fact that he's had injuries in his past, but most likely he's going to be ready for training camp and should be a value again this season. And perhaps the reason everyone is so low on Raheem Mostert is because apparently De'Von Achane is a top 7 running back in the league now. Achane dealt with his own injury issues last season, notably missing 3 times as many games as Mostert did with a preseason AC sprain as well as an MCL sprain mid-season, despite absolutely insane efficiency from the running back position with 7.7 yards per carry and an impressive 11 touchdowns. Those injuries are something that people spending a top 2 round pick on Achane need to remember. The good news is both of the issues should be fully healed by now, and there are reports coming out this summer that De'Von Achane is trying to add a little bit of size to his 5'9", 190-pound frame. He's trying to add a little bit more bulk so that he could carry more times this season versus last season. Last season, he really was truly a change of pace back with his pass-catching ability and another year in Miami's pretty complicated run scheme. It should be a good year for De'Von Achane, and he should still provide value for fantasy gamers, but he's going to need to see a serious workload increase in the passing game, especially if Raheem Mostert is healthy, just to justify this top 2 round fantasy pick draft capital. I just feel like that is a very high price for somebody that's very clearly in, at a minimum, a 2-person backfield and possibly even a 3-person backfield, with the Miami Dolphins drafting Jalen Wright, one of the better running backs from, again, a pretty bad running back class this season. All right, next up, we got Rhamondre Stevenson coming off a high ankle sprain that cost him the final 5 games of last season, but he still managed to secure the bag this offseason. 4-year, $36 million deal. That contract puts him firmly in the top 10 highest paid running backs, and I think it locks him into the RB1 role for this new era of Patriots football. Stevenson fully participated in the Patriots minicamp in June, was reportedly heavily involved in the team's new offense under former Browns offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt. In 4 years with Cleveland, Van Pelt led the Browns rushing attack to 3 top 10 seasons out of the 4 years that he coached. Now, I'm not saying that Rhamondre Stevenson is Nick Chubb, but I am saying that this system should be the friendliest system that he has played in thus far in his NFL career. He's going outside of the top 18 running backs drafted right now, and he should return value there, assuming that he's healthy and assuming that this ankle injury was just a one-time thing. All right, before I start talking about J.K. Dobbins and his Achilles injury, let me just say that reports are this summer he's 100% healthy. He should enter training camp and be competing for a job on the Chargers. I just truly hope that he's healthy. It is a shame for a guy to come into the NFL like J.K. Dobbins, to work his whole life to get there, be relatively healthy with no real major injury concerns coming out of the draft, to have the type of career that J.K. Dobbins has had thus far is horrible, horrible luck. I wish him nothing but the best. But I do have a problem with fantasy experts telling people that they should be drafting J.K. Dobbins in fantasy. Here's the facts. J.K. Dobbins has played in 10 games since 2020. He's missed 81% of the available games that he could have played in. And in those 10 games that he did play in, he's averaging just over 10 half PPR points per game. That would have put him outside the top 36 running backs in fantasy last season. That's not even considering the fact that Achilles injuries are a absolute death sentence for running backs specifically. Despite what some guy on his couch tells you about the advances in modern medicine and all these things that we have now to make this injury better, let me tell you the truth. What we've done in terms of modern medicine for the Achilles repair and reconstruction is allow these players to have a chance to compete for positions on the NFL field. They don't get back to the level of production that they were at pre-injury. If you don't believe me, let's look at the running backs over the last 5 seasons that have torn their Achilles. Deontay Foreman, RB51 last year, RB38 in 2022. Cam Akers, RB35 in 2022, then he tore his other Achilles. Marlon Mack, RB 84 in 2022, then he tore his Achilles again. James Robinson, RB 50 last year. Isaiah Crowell never returned to the NFL. Tariq Cohen still has not returned to the NFL. I don't know what else I can tell you guys. The Achilles injury is the death sentence to the running back position, and the more we draft these guys, the more we disappoint ourselves for fantasy. And I understand J.K. Dobbins, good name. He's going back to a system that he knows. There's a chance that he could produce for your fantasy teams. There was a chance and an argument for all of the guys that I just mentioned to come back and be fantasy viable players. None of them did. And so how many times are we going to do the same thing over and over and over and over again in the fantasy community, expecting different results? It's the definition of insanity, guys. We should not be drafting J.K. Dobbins. It's nothing against J.K. Dobbins, but you're losing the opportunity cost of having a young, healthy running back that still has juice, that can come in and also produce for your fantasy team, that has a way higher ceiling than what J.K. Dobbins does. And I can't, in good faith, tell you guys to draft someone who's coming off the injury that J.K. Dobbins is coming off of. And that's just the facts. All right, so obviously we're not drafting J.K. Dobbins. That's kind of a gimme at this point. Hopefully you guys already knew not to do that. And so I'm going to give you one more guy that I'm definitely not drafting in fantasy. And this is a bigger name, somebody that I think a lot of people are high on this year. And what if I told you that there's a running back going inside the top 24 running backs that has never played in an NFL game and tore his ACL in November last year? That would be Carolina Panthers running back and rookie Jonathan Brooks. Now, full transparency, I thought Brooks was far and away the best running back prospect in this subpar running back class, even with the ACL tear. But I don't think he's going to hit the same way that Breece Hall did last season coming off of his ACL tear. Now, normal return to full production for a running back after an ACL tear takes about 12 months. Breece Hall was the RB32 through the first 4 weeks of the season last year. Mind you, he tore his ACL in week 7 the year prior. But after hitting the 12-month mark, he finished as the RB2 overall from week 8 on. Brooks won't hit the 12-month mark of his recovery until after his team's week 11 bye. Now, Brooks has already missed rookie minicamp. He's already expected to miss parts of training camp and the preseason. He's most likely going to start on the active PUP list. And I just don't like drafting rookies that don't get the practice time coming into the NFL due to injury. I don't like it when they miss any time, but I definitely don't like it when they miss multiple portions of camps heading into their rookie season. Given that Carolina has depth at the running back position with Chuba Hubbard, Rashad Penny, and the corpse of Miles Sanders, I don't think that they're going to need to rush Jonathan Brooks back into big minutes right away. That's also assuming that big minutes in this offense actually means something for fantasy this year. Last year, the Panthers scored a total of 7 rushing touchdowns for the entire season. That's the whole team, 7 rushing touchdowns. Is that really an offense that we are confident is going to make huge strides this season? Are you willing to bet your RB2 slot on someone who may not even get the bulk of the carries in that type of offense? I'm not, and for that reason, I'm out on Jonathan Brooks this year, and you should be too. All right, guys, that's it for the running back video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We actually hit our like goal on the quarterback video last week, so we are giving away a free draft guide. Congratulations. If your name's up on the screen, you won a free draft guide courtesy of the doc. Same like goal for this video. Hit the like button. If we get 500 likes, I'll give away a draft guide on the next video, which is going to be wide receivers. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you guys next time. The doc is out.